So in this video, we're going to quickly have a review of the basics of logarithms. So there are at least 4 important equations which essentially just tell you important facts. So the first one says, look, okay, I think even before moving there, most basic of all is, what is the logarithm of a number or logarithm of some term? So I'll just call my number x. Well, the logarithm of x actually has some value. The logarithm itself is a function. So for instance, so before you actually listen to what I'm about to say, you need to make sure you actually understand what functions are, because there's a separate section of functions. But the whole idea of a function of x is that you have a function of x which could be x squared. So when x is 1 in this case, so I'll just show you a basic idea. Now when x is 1, what is f of x? Well, f of x is x squared, which is 1 times 1, which is 1. When x is 2, what is f of x? When x is 2, f of x is 2 squared, because x is now 2, so 2 squared is 4. And so on. When x is 3, f of x is x squared, which is 3 squared, which is 3 times 3, which is 9. Now in this case, our function is actually the logarithm of x. So when x is, say, 10, you need to use your calculator to find what f of x is. So the logarithm of x will then give you some value, some numerical value. So that's the basic idea. And the other thing you need to be aware of is that the logarithm of a number in base 10 is written sometimes as logarithm of the number without actually showing the base. So anytime you have the log of x, you know that it's logarithm of a number to base 10. So that's just the second thing. So I have 4 basic rules here, and I'm going to start with the 4th one, and actually let you understand what logarithms are. So what's the logarithm of a number to a certain base? For instance, what's the logarithm of let's see, 100 to base 10? Well, the logarithm of 100 to base 10 is equal to some number. Let's call it x. And that x tells you what you have to raise the base to get this value. So if I write log 100, and I'm saying what is that equal to, you're saying what will I raise 10 to give me 100? I know that the answer of that is 2, because 10 raised to the power of 2 is 100. So if I say the logarithm of x to base y, what you're asking for is what power you raise y to give x. So let's call this a. So you're interested in a power. So that's the whole idea. So in this case, you have the logarithm of 10 to the k to the base 10. It's saying the question here really is saying, even though this is not really a question, but in terms of the solution, it's saying what will I raise 10 to give me 10 to the k? Let's think about it. You have 10 to the k here. What will you raise 10 to give you 10 to the k? You raise 10 to k, right? To the power of k. If you raise 10 to the power of k, you get 10 to the k. So instead of thinking of it this way, because that involves a bit of thought, an easier way to just think about this is, look, if you're asked to find the logarithm of 10 raised to some power, your answer is always that power. So obviously I'm saying the logarithm of that number to base 10, which I'm not showing here. Logarithm of 10 to anything is always that thing. So logarithm of 10 to the power of k is equal to k. Remember that. That's the first rule. Well, that's the 4th rule here. The first major rule here is that the logarithm of p times q is equal to the logarithm of p plus the logarithm of q. Second rule here is saying that the logarithm of p over q is equal to the logarithm of p minus the logarithm of q. That's second rule. Third rule is saying that the logarithm of p raised to the n is equal to n times the logarithm of p. So I'll just write that one out. I'll give you an example. So if I say the logarithm of 3 squared, it's the same thing as 2 log 3. So the logarithm of p raised to the n is equal to n log p. The power always comes in front. So these are important rules that will help you in solving problems involving logarithms.